Chosen one, stop scrolling. This message is not for everyone. But if you have been betrayed, misunderstood, attacked in silence, copied, mocked, judged, and still somehow found the strength to keep standing, then this message is for you. And before I say anything else, I want you to write these 2 words in the comments. Still here. Not because I need you to prove anything, but because there is something powerful about declaring that what was sent to destroy you did not finish you. They thought you would disappear. They thought you would break. They thought the pressure, the rejection, the silence, the delays, and the betrayal would finally make you quit. But look at you. You are still here. And that is the part they never planned for. Type "still here" if you survived something that nobody around you fully understands. Because what I am about to reveal is going to explain why the attacks became so intense, why certain people suddenly changed toward you, why doors were blocked for so long, and why God is now preparing to turn the same situation that hurt you into the very evidence of your elevation. Listen closely. The mistake they made was not attacking you. The mistake they made was believing that you were ordinary. They looked at your quietness and thought it was weakness. They looked at your kindness and thought it meant you would never defend yourself. They looked at your patience and thought you were confused. They looked at your silence and thought you had nothing to say. But they did not understand something. Chosen ones do not always fight with noise. Sometimes they fight by surviving. Sometimes they fight by healing. Sometimes they fight by refusing to become bitter. Sometimes they fight by letting God collect every receipt while they keep walking forward. And that is exactly what happened with you. For a long time, you wondered why certain people were so focused on your downfall. You did not even understand what you had done to deserve that level of resistance. You were just trying to live. You were just trying to build. You were just trying to become better. You were just trying to heal from things you never even talked about. But your growth bothered people who had secretly become comfortable with your pain. Your progress exposed their excuses. Your light exposed their darkness. Your discipline exposed their laziness. Your peace exposed their chaos. Your survival exposed the truth that they were never as powerful as they pretended to be. And this is why they tried to make you feel small. They needed you to doubt yourself. They needed you to question your gift. They needed you to believe you were the problem. Because if you ever fully understood who you were, they knew they would lose control over the story. But God says that season is over. Type "Amen" if you believe the season of confusion is ending. Because what they did in secret is not staying secret. What they whispered behind closed doors is not staying hidden. What they planned against you is beginning to turn back toward them. Not because you are taking revenge. Not because you are chasing them. Not because you are wasting your energy trying to prove yourself. But because spiritual law does not forget. God saw it. He saw every fake smile. He saw every hidden agenda. He saw every time they used your name in rooms you were not in. He saw every person who pretended to support you while secretly hoping you would fall. He saw the messages. He saw the conversations. He saw the jealousy they dressed up as concern. He saw the way they tried to block your opportunities. He saw the way they tried to make others doubt your character. And he also saw how you responded. You cried, but you did not become cruel. You were wounded, but you did not become wicked. You were tired, but you did not surrender. You were confused, but you still prayed. You were delayed, but you still believed. That is why this next season is not just a blessing. It is a correction. It is God correcting the record. It is God showing the difference between someone who was being attacked and someone who was actually protected. Type 777 if you know God saw what they did. Now listen carefully. One of the reasons this message found you is because you have recently felt something shifting inside you. You may not have words for it yet, but you can feel it. You are not reacting the same way anymore. Things that used to break your heart now only reveal people's true colors. Words that used to hurt you now sound empty. People who used to control your emotions no longer have the same power. You still remember what happened, but it no longer owns you. That is not random. That is healing. That is growth. That is God removing the old version of you from the reach of the people who only knew how to hurt that version. They still think they are dealing with the old you, but they are not. The old you explained too much. The old you begged to be understood. The old you kept giving chances to people who kept proving they did not value your heart. The old you thought silence meant losing. But this version of you understands something deeper. Silence can be protection. Distance can be wisdom. Peace can be power. And not every blessing needs an announcement. Type I receive if you are ready to move in silence and let God speak through results. Because something is being prepared for you now. And I need you to hear this clearly. A door that was once blocked is opening again, but it will not open in the way you expected. It may come through a person. It may come through a message. It may come through an opportunity. It may come through an idea that enters your mind with unusual clarity. It may come through someone who has been watching your journey quietly and finally decides to reach out. But when it comes, do not rush to tell everyone. Do not run to people for validation. Do not expose what God is still developing. Some people do not need access to your next move. Some people do not need details. Some people only need to see the fruit when the time is right. Because the next blessing is not just about money. It is about stability. It is about peace. It is about protection. It is about confidence returning. It is about your name being cleared. It is about your heart feeling safe again. It is about you finally understanding that the delay was not denial. The delay was protection. God was not just preparing the blessing. He was preparing you to carry it without losing yourself. Type 1111 if you believe a door is opening for you. Now, there is something important you need to understand about the people who came against you. They expected your pain to make you weaker, but your pain made you wiser. They expected betrayal to make you bitter, but it made you more discerning. They expected delays to make you quit, but delays taught you how to build strength without applause. They expected silence to mean you were defeated, but silence gave God space to work. They expected you to collapse, but instead you became calmer. You became sharper. You became harder to manipulate. You became harder to impress. You became harder to distract. You became the version of yourself they were trying to prevent. That is why some people are uncomfortable now. They can feel that you are no longer easy to control. They can feel that you are not as available for drama. They can feel that you are not begging for approval anymore. They can feel that your energy has changed. And here is the truth. Your energy changed because your identity changed. You stopped seeing yourself through their rejection. You stopped measuring your worth through their opinion. You stopped calling yourself weak just because you were tired. You stopped calling yourself behind just because your path looked different. You started realizing that chosen ones are often hidden before they are revealed. They are often isolated before they are elevated. They are often misunderstood before they are recognized. They are often attacked before they are promoted. So if you have been in a season where everything felt heavy, do not assume you were being punished. You may have been in preparation. Type prepared if you believe your pain prepared you for something greater. Because that is exactly what is happening. The same situation that made you question yourself is going to become the situation that proves God was with you the whole time. The same people who laughed are going to go quiet. The same people who doubted are going to watch. The same people who thought they buried you are going to realize they planted you. And when you rise, you will not need to explain. You will not need to argue. You will not need to chase closure from people who never planned to give it. Your peace will be the answer. Your growth will be the answer. Your results will be the answer. Your calmness will be the answer. Your life will become the answer. But before that happens, God is asking you to do something. Do not go back to the same patterns. Do not reopen doors that God already closed. Do not confuse loneliness with a sign to return. Do not confuse guilt with love. Do not confuse familiar pain with destiny. Some people are being removed because they cannot go where you are going. Some conversations are ending because they no longer match your future. Some opportunities are fading because they were distractions dressed as blessings. And some delays are happening because God is protecting you from what looks good but is not aligned. Type guide ME God if you want clarity in this season. Chosen one, this is not the time to be careless with your energy. This is not the time to announce every plan. This is not the time to explain your dreams to people who have already shown they cannot handle your light. This is not the time to beg for support from people who only clap when you are struggling. This is the time to become disciplined. This is the time to become quiet. This is the time to become spiritually alert. This is the time to build without noise. This is the time to heal without needing everyone to understand. This is the time to let God show you who is real. Because the next level of your life will require a different version of you. A calmer version. A wiser version. A more focused version. A version that does not panic every time people misunderstand. A version that does not give enemies free access through emotional reactions. A version that knows when to speak and when to stay silent. A version that trusts God's timing more than public opinion. And that version is already forming inside you. That is why you have been feeling different. That is why old conversations feel draining. That is why old environments feel heavy. That is why your spirit no longer fits in places where your pain once felt normal. You are not losing yourself. You are returning to yourself. Type I am returning if this message is speaking to your spirit. Now, I want you to think about something. How many times did you almost give up? How many nights did you feel like nobody understood? How many times did you pray without seeing anything change? How many times did you wonder if God forgot you? But somehow, even after all of that, you are still here. That means something. Your survival is not small. Your endurance is not normal. Your ability to keep loving after being hurt is not ordinary. Your ability to keep believing after delay is not ordinary. Your ability to stay kind in a world that tried to harden you is not ordinary. There is something in you that hell could not destroy. There is something in you that rejection could not kill. There is something in you that betrayal could not erase. And that is why this next chapter will be different. Not because life will never challenge you again, but because you are no longer entering the challenge as the same person. You have evidence now. Evidence that you can survive. Evidence that you can rebuild. Evidence that you can be misunderstood and still keep your heart clean. Evidence that you can lose people and still not lose yourself. Evidence that you can be delayed and still not be denied. So when the next door opens, do not shrink. When the next opportunity comes, do not say, "Why me?" Say, "God prepared me for this." When the next blessing arrives, do not run back to people who only respected your pain. Move forward, quietly, wisely, faithfully, and let God confirm what He already started. Type "I am ready" if you are ready for the door that God is opening. Because yes, a door is opening, but this door will require courage. It will require you to stop living like the old season still owns you. It will require you to stop apologizing for your growth. It will require you to stop dimming your wisdom because others call it arrogance. It will require you to stop pretending you do not see what you clearly see. You were given discernment for a reason. You sense energy for a reason. You notice patterns for a reason. You can feel when something is off for a reason. That is not overthinking. That is not being too sensitive. That is discernment. God gave you the ability to recognize what others ignore because your path requires protection. You are not meant to walk blindly into every open door. You are meant to test the spirit behind it. You are meant to move with wisdom. You are meant to listen to the quiet warning inside you. That warning has saved you more times than you realize. So in this next season, do not ignore your peace. If something looks good but steals your peace, pause. If someone speaks nicely, but your spirit feels uneasy, pause. If an opportunity looks shiny but feels rushed, pause. God does not need to pressure you to bless you. What is truly from God can stand in peace. Type discernment if you want God to sharpen your spiritual vision. Now, for the person who feels tired while listening to this, I need you to hear me. You are not behind. You are not finished. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are not being ignored. You are in a season where God is rebuilding what people tried to break. And rebuilding is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like separation. Sometimes it looks like crying and still choosing hope. Sometimes it looks like waking up and doing one small thing right. Sometimes it looks like not replying. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace even when your mind wants revenge. Sometimes it looks like trusting God with the people who hurt you. That is not weakness. That is maturity. That is power under control. That is spiritual growth. And that is why your blessing will not feel random when it arrives. You will know exactly why it came. You will know it was connected to every silent battle, every private prayer, every moment you did the right thing when nobody was watching, every time you chose not to become like the people who hurt you. God recorded it. God honored it. God is using it. Type "God saw me" if you believe heaven saw your silent battles. And now, chosen one, I want to speak directly over your life. The season where people could secretly use your name without consequence is ending. The season where your kindness was mistaken for weakness is ending. The season where your silence was misread as defeat is ending. The season where your prayers felt unanswered is ending. The season where you questioned your own worth because of someone else's rejection is ending. A new season is opening. A season of clarity. A season of restoration. A season of quiet confidence. A season where the wrong people lose access. A season where the right people recognize your value. A season where opportunities find you without you begging for them. A season where peace becomes your normal. a season where what was delayed begins moving again. And when it starts moving, do not be surprised if it happens faster than expected. Sometimes God allows the delay to build pressure. Then when the breakthrough comes, it carries more force than it would have carried before. What looked blocked was not canceled. It was accumulating. It was building. It was being redirected. It was being protected from people who were not meant to touch it. And now the pressure is beginning to break through. Type breakthrough if you believe what was delayed is still in motion. Chosen one, they failed. Not because they were weak, but because God was stronger. They failed because they did not understand your assignment. They failed because they thought pain would cancel purpose. They failed because they thought betrayal would erase destiny. They failed because they thought isolation meant abandonment. They failed because they thought your quiet season meant your story was over. But your story was not over. God was writing a chapter they were not invited to read. And now you are stepping into it. So before you leave this video, write this in the comments. Still here. Write it for every night you cried and still woke up. Write it for every person who counted you out. Write it for every door that closed but did not destroy you. Write it for every attack that failed. Write it for every version of you that had to survive in silence. Write it as a declaration. Write it as proof. Write it as a message to your future self. Still here. And if this message felt like it was speaking directly to your life, like this video so it can reach another chosen one who is tired but still standing. Share it with someone who needs to know they are not crazy, not forgotten, and not finished. Subscribe to this channel because the next message will reveal the signs that your breakthrough has already started. Until then, stay quiet, stay strong, stay close to God, and remember this: they tried to bury you, but they forgot one thing. Seeds also get buried. And now, chosen one, it is your time to rise.